Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing my film and television wrap-up for April. So let's get into it. I'm just going to open up my letterbox. First thing I watched was technically it was released onto Netflix as a mini-series, but it was released in its native Norway as a movie, so I'm just going to include it as a movie. But it was War Sailor, or Krigsaleren. Butchered that pronunciation. So it's set during the Second World War, and it's about merchant sailors that then suddenly get roped into being in war because they were sailing across to America, but then suddenly the Nazis invaded Norway, and then they couldn't return home. So then they participated in a war that they didn't necessarily want to be a part of. It's directed by Gunnar Vikne. And it was pretty good. Like, I think it's the most expensive Norwegian film ever made. And you can tell, like, the special effects were brilliant. The age makeup later was a bit cringy, but such is life. But yeah, no, it was quite a harrowing look at civilians in war. And some of the moments, like, at sea were quite horrifying. But yeah, like, it's important to just watch war films sometimes just to realise, oh god, this happened. And these people's stories half the time aren't known. Like, I don't know how well known this whole thing about Norwegian sailors getting pulled into a conflict without any kind of military training, and yeah, crazy. Beautifully shot, brilliantly acted, all round quite a good production. Like, again, like I said, it's technically a mini-series on Netflix, here in the UK anyway. I don't know where else it's been released. Then I watched Atlantis, The Lost Empire. So that's like the cute animated movie. I had Disney Plus for like a month because I was watching The Mandalorian. And so I was just like, okay, we'll just watch a cartoon. I watched it with my little sister. She really enjoyed it. I thought it was okay. It was just like a kind of fun family film. Milo's a bit annoying though. I thought it was a bit cringy. His narrative of being like a little white boy from America, then teaching these native people their own language. Who thought of that? That hasn't aged particularly well, has it? But yeah, like, other than that, it was just what it is. And the mole thing in it, disgusting. Like, what? It was alright. I think I gave it like 2 stars because, like, it was pretty to look at, but it was generic. And then I watched Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Amongst Thieves. Fun movie, popcorn fare. It's the kind of movie that while you're watching it, it's enjoyable, you're laughing, blah blah blah, all that. But at the end of the month, I've kind of forgotten what happened in it, other than there's a bird called Jonathan and people try and use him to escape from a prison, and the Reggae John Page was in it and he was a hot paladin. It was fun, enjoyable, there were some good laughs in it, and yeah, it was just a fantasy. I hope they do more because, like, I love fantasy movies. And yeah, it was just a good laugh. Like, I went to the cinema with my sister, who doesn't go to the cinema that often, and I like roped her in to come see it with me, and she enjoyed it, I think. So, woohoo. Then I watched The Last Kingdom. Seven Kings Must Die. I forgot what the subtitle of the film was. So I finished the TV show last month as well. My god, season 5. Why did everyone fucking die? Spoiler alert. But this movie, oh my god. Like, it made me cry at the end. I would have preferred it to be a season 6, I must admit, because it did feel like everything just happened a bit too fast, but hey ho, that's how things are with movies in comparison to TV show plotting. But yeah, the ending, oh my goodness, like, it made me really sad. And like, spoiler for anyone that's seen it, but Uhtred has like a moment where he's like looking to the people that he's alive and then potentially to Valhalla, and like there's people missing there. Where's Ragnar? Where the fuck is Ragnar? Where's Sigtryggr? His fucking wife, who was a pagan, that he was, like, apparently completely in love with. I mean, obviously he was also in love with Ethelfled, which, oh. But yeah, anyway. that was annoying. But, and then also the way it panned out to show, like, the castle nowadays, so Bamburgh Castle, I don't know if I'm saying that right. And it's just kind of like the idea that hundreds of years ago, or over 1,000 years ago, these stories were alive, and now all that we have left of them is the place where they happened. And, like, the fact that, like, this whole, like, 5-season show about this guy trying to go home and like inherit his birthright, and like now it's just a tourist attraction. It's just like, this meant the world to someone. They fought so hard for this place, for the honour of this place as their home, and like now you can just go and visit it and just look at it, and it's just like, there's almost a poetry in that as well, like that echoes down through the ages. And I think that's what I love about history, is that these lives all flow into each other. And like, when you think about it, you exist here right now because of all the thousands of people that came before you. And in a way, that's magic. So like, all the things that happened in history all had to flow in a certain way for life to be as it is now. Yay. But yeah, like, it was a fun movie. I'm sad that it's over now, because I did pretty much just binge watch the whole show and then the movie in a very short space of time. It became my life for a couple of weeks, and like, I wholeheartedly became mildly obsessed with it. And like, then it suddenly ended, and I was just like, oh, okay, destiny is all. Then I watched another Norwegian film. This is Sick of Myself, or Sykepike, or something like that. It's directed by Christopher Borgli. This is like a satire comedy drama about a couple who are absolutely narcissistic, self-obsessed attention whores, essentially. So one is like an artist who goes around stealing furniture to create sculptures, and then the other is a woman that works in a coffee shop, and she's the artist's girlfriend. And they compete with each other for attention from their friends, from everyone around them. Each time they've got to level up the amount of attention they get, and the girl in this goes way too far, like completely unhinged. Like, this is lit-fic fucked up territory. But yeah, like, this is like the worst person in the world is actually the worst person in the world. She starts taking this experimental drug to basically get a skin rash / allergic reaction to get attention, and she becomes disfigured, and it's just so unhinged. It's hilarious. Like, I went to a independent cinema to see this because it was like, I think it was like the early screening of the film, and I was like, oh my god, I need to see this as soon as possible, because I'd seen trailer for it like last year, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's actually coming out in this country. Well, hey, thanks to the worst person in the world that's now sort of making Norwegian films trendy. So yeah, it was enjoyable. I definitely recommend it if you like unhinged women doing crazy stuff, despicable stuff, and if you need a comedy that's quite dark. Then I watched The Three Musketeers, D'Artagnan. Again, saw this in the cinema. Like, love how many international movies are coming over and getting wider releases now. So obviously this is French. The main reason why I wanted to watch this is because it has Ava Green in it, and I think she is phenomenal. She's like probably my favourite actress. Like, I've been obsessed with her for years. I pretty much see most of her movies, and let's face it, I would let her call me a peasant. She's wonderful in this movie as Milady. To be honest, the cast is absolutely stacked as well. So you've got like François Civil playing D'Artagnan, you've got Vincent Cassel, Pierre Mamet, Romain Duris, Louis Garrel, the German, the woman that was in Corsage and Bergman Island. What is her name? Vicky Creeps? I can never say her name. Love her as well. It's like literally phenomenal cast of French and European actors. And yeah, it was just really enjoyable. I must admit, like, I thought the colour palette could have been more exciting. Like, it was just very browny, old looking. So like, that kind of disappointed me a bit, the colour palette. Of all things to have a complaint about. But yeah, it was fun, it was enjoyable, it was like swashbuckling action. Obviously it's based on the book by Alexandre Dumas. I was supposed to read it before I saw the movie, but I just didn't have the time. So I'll probably, famous last words, read the book before the second part comes out, because they've divided the movies into two parts. You've got part 1, which is D'Artagnan, part 2, which is Milady. Then I watched a Hong Sang-soo film, and that is In Front of Your Face. Typical Hong Sang-soo movie, like about an actress milling around Seoul, talking to people. Then she meets a director and talks to him about stuff. But then it gets a bit darker. And like, I don't know whether this is like me being very presumptuous, but Hong Sang-soo, like, he's old. He's getting on. Fantastic filmmaker, very slow and very like French not new wave, but like French sort of conversation movies. I don't know whether that makes any sense to anyone that doesn't watch a lot of French movies, but his films feel like French movies. And the fact that they're just people in rooms talking or wandering around talking about art and life. But this one takes a bit of a turn because it gets a bit more about death and slightly more depressing. And like, I don't know whether it's because Hong Sang-soo's old and he's sort of mediating on the universality of death. Who knows? Like, I think about death all the time. I can only think that when I'm in my 70s, I'll be thinking about it even more because I'm petrified of it. So it's almost like, yeah, like, oh, I don't know. But it was an okay movie. I found it slightly boring, but maybe I just wasn't in the mood. Like, sometimes I'm really in the mood for a Hong Sang-soo movie, and I just love how slow, meandering, and just very lo-fi it is. Like, it's like as if someone is just capturing on their own camcorder someone else's conversations. So it's like no fuss, no frills sort of filmmaking. Oh, right, yes. And then we've got the film, two Endall films recently. This is probably one of the best films I've seen in months, and that is Lamb or Dirith by Voldemir Johansson. It's an Icelandic movie. It's from A24. It's weird. It's basically about this couple that discover a hybrid lamb on their farm and decide to raise it because they used to have a daughter, and why not raise it in the place of that one? What could go wrong? Apparently everything. I love how moody and slow and brooding it is. The landscapes are literally the most gorgeous things ever. Like, Iceland just looks so stunning and just the perfect backdrop for a story like this. There's so many like literary references in this movie as well. I made a whole film review on it because I just became like obsessed. I literally watched it and then stayed up until 2 a.m. writing furiously about this movie. Because I just thought, wow, this is stunning. This is like cinema, man. So yeah, instantly obsessed, 5-star, loved it. It's currently on my top 4 on my Letterboxd profile because I am living and breathing it at the moment. Fabulous performances from everyone involved. It's a very small cast. The animals in it are sensational. Like, they top tier Oscar performances from like the cat, the dog, and then the sheep in it. It's got Noomi Rapace in it, who's like a Swedish actress, but I think she lived in Iceland for a while, so that's... Because I was like slightly confused. It's like, oh wow, how does she know Icelandic? But I think she lived there for a while. Because it's it's not impossible, but it looks like an impossible language to learn. But yeah, like, just really, really fantastic movie. If you love folklore, horror-ish films that make you think about life, about nature, about consequences of actions, about morality, is this right, is this natural, then you have to see it. Absolutely 100% you have to see it. It's sensational. So they're all the movies that I watched in April. Let's move on to TV shows. There's not many. I've already mentioned that I finished watching The Last Kingdom. Loved it. Sensational. Cried my eyes out all through season 5 because literally some of my favourite characters just dropped dead in it. Wasn't expecting there to be so much tragedy. Succession, love it. Sensational, brilliant. It just keeps getting funnier and funnier. The annoying thing is, though, episode 3 was spoiled for me. I opened up Instagram, saw the image. You know the image if you know the show. And I was instantly like, oh fuck, he died. Oh, for fuck's sake. Why is it always the biggest episodes of television that get spoiled for me? The Red Wedding in Game of Thrones, spoiled. Season 4, episode 3 of Succession, spoiled. Ugh, infuriating. But yeah, love it, love this season. I don't really have anything else to say other than it's hilarious, I love it. If you haven't seen it, bloody watch it. Like, come on, how many more people do you need to tell you Oh, you should be watching this. Oh yeah, I started watching Dead Ringers, but I haven't actually finished it yet, so I think I'm like on episode 3. I did start it with the intention of literally watching it over a weekend, but I was currently watching another TV show that I needed to finish. So I put it on hold and I just haven't returned to it yet. It's stylish, it's frank, it's funny, fantastic production. Like, it's got Rachel Weisz in it playing twins, because it's based on the Cronenberg movie of the same name. I think it's less horrifying in certain aspects. There is like a whole scene of women giving birth, which is almost horrifying, but it shows the brutality of the process that women go through just to birth, just to make humans. It's terrifying in that respect. And I think it's so cool that they've put that in a show, because it's almost as if we don't talk about things like this. And especially with all the horrifying crap that is going on in America at the moment to do with women's reproductive rights, this show has happened at just the right time, I think, showcasing the horrors of childbirth. And just it's a feminist show. It's a feminist reimagining of Cronenberg's classic horror movie. It's written by women, it's directed by women, it's starring women. Yes, sensational. I need to finish it, so I will this month. Yeah, so the show that I was already watching, it's an Icelandic show, so it's a Nordic noir. It's called Trapped, and basically I started watching this and became obsessed with it. Like, there's 3 seasons, 2 of them are on Amazon under the name Trapped, and then there's one on Netflix called Entrapped. Don't quite know why it had to be called something different, but yeah, I started watching this, became obsessed with it. That's actually why I watched Lamb, because I was like, oh my god, I need more shit set in Iceland. Oops, sorry, plant. So yeah, watched this. The first scene's about a murder. A body, literally just a torso, gets found. Great stuff. Brooding dark. I think it's set during the winter, so there's very little daylight hours. Oh, like, the vibes were perfect. The second season wasn't as good as the first one. To be honest, I think the first season was the best one. Third season, Entrapped, was pretty decent as well. But yeah, like, the whole thing just great. If you love Nordic noirs, murder mysteries, and sort of just crime shows where the landscape is just as much a character as the people on the screen, it's brilliant. Like, really enjoyed it. Again, like, I binge watched it within probably like a week. So, like, I had a little hangover afterwards of like, oh no, I don't have any more of this to watch. So if anyone has any other sort of really atmospheric Nordic noirs that they can recommend, please let me know. And then obviously the last couple of episodes of Mandalorian, I cried at the end. Not because it was sad, but because it was perfect. And it was almost as if you could end the show with the last scene. And yeah, it made me cry because it was just so cute and happy. But yeah, anyway, that's the end of this video because I have nothing else to say. I mean, I've always got something else to say. Thank you for watching. If you liked this video, please give me a thumbs up, like, subscribe, do whatever you need to do, and I will see you again soon with another video. Bye bye.